And who would have known that the Golden Boy would take such a loss to Pretty Boy Floyd? Let's talk about that. And it looks as if Ryan Garcia is going to take his talent somewhere around Floyd Mayweather Jr. And this battle between Floyd and Oscar De La Hoya has been taking place for what seems like 25, it seems like 20 years, 25 years. Dangerous fighter, man. But Oscar De La Hoya been losing to Floyd Mayweather Jr. for years and years and years. And what an absolutely terrible businessman, dog. You cannot get along with your prodigy, man. Your ego is wrapped up into it.
In a shocking turn of events, rising boxing star Ryan Garcia has accused his former promoter, Golden Boy Promotions, of engaging in a series of unethical and manipulative practices. Garcia's allegations, which include financial mismanagement, public disparagement, and the worst thing, having rapport to the people inside the whole world of boxing in order to continue to be a boxing star.
No, I mean, Golden Boy Promotions picked that dude to get Ryan Garcia beat. And you could tell in the way that fight went about, that dude, if you had a matchmaker that was saying, okay, what can we do to Ryan Garcia that will cause Ryan Garcia a lot of problems, and we can have an opportunity to beat Ryan Garcia.
All these allegations have sent shockwaves through the boxing world. The first claim that Ryan made against the Golden Boy is about money mismanagement. In fact, Ryan Garcia's claim that Golden Boy Promotions paid him only 20% of his fight earnings while retaining 80% raises serious questions about transparency, fairness, and financial accountability within the boxer-promoter relationship. This accusation, if substantiated, points to a troubling imbalance in the distribution of revenues and the provision of financial information. The alleged 80-20 split, favoring the promoter disproportionately, challenges the standard industry practice where fighters typically receive a more substantial share of their fight purses. This kind of unequal revenue distribution, if proven true, would suggest exploitative practices and an imbalance in the economic relationship between Garcia and Golden Boy. Ryan Garcia has also asserted that Golden Boy Promotions forced him into fights against his will, raises serious ethical questions about the dynamics of the boxer-promoter relationship. This allegation introduces a troubling dimension, suggesting a lack of agencies for the fighter in making crucial career decisions. If Garcia's claim is accurate, it implies a significant compromise of his autonomy as a fighter. Professional boxers should ideally have a say in the selection of opponents based on factors such as skill level, stylistic matchups, and risk assessment. Being pressured into accepting specific opponents without due consideration for these factors is a breach of the trust that fighters place in their promoters. And now the news that in particularly sent shockwaves to the boxing world when Ryan proved to the court with text and audio that Oscar De La Hoya forced him to sleep with trainers and judges of the boxing community in order to have them in his flavor. In the world of sports and combat sports, building relationships and maintaining a good rapport with producers, promoters, and other key figures in the industry is often crucial for success. Just like actors and actresses who need to network with producers and casting directors to get their big break, athletes and fighters often need to cultivate these connections to advance their careers. This is because the competitive landscape in sports is highly dependent on exposure and opportunities. Being noticed by major promoters, broadcasters, and sponsors is essential for securing lucrative contracts, endorsements, and media coverage. Building relationships with these stakeholders can open doors to new opportunities and elevate an athlete's profile within their sport. For example, a young fighter who consistently performs well in local competitions may attract the attention of a prominent promoter who can help them step up to bigger fights and arenas. Similarly, an up-and-coming athlete may be approached by a well-connected agent who can negotiate better contracts and media deals. Apart from financial gains, fostering relationships with industry insiders can also provide athletes with valuable insights and guidance. Producers, promoters, and coaches can offer expert advice on training techniques, nutrition, career management, and navigating the complexities of the sports industry. Yeah, all that is good, but not so good when you are forced to have sex with them. In his recent bout against Oscar Duarte, there were indeed some instances that raised questions about the leniency towards Ryan Garcia's defensive tactics. particularly his frequent use of the Philly shell stance, which can lead to excessive turning of the back to the opponent. During the fight, Garcia's back-turned position seemed excessive at times, extending beyond the boundaries of effective defense and approaching the threshold of stalling or avoiding engagement. This raised concerns among some observers that the referee might have been overly lenient in allowing Garcia's defensive maneuvers. While the referee's job is to ensure a fair fight, it's also essential to enforce the rules and protect the integrity of the sport. In this case, it was argued that Garcia's unorthodox defensive tactics, coupled with the referee's seemingly permissive approach, created an uneven playing field and allowed Garcia to gain an unfair advantage. This incident highlights the delicate balance between allowing effective defensive strategies and enforcing the rules to maintain the integrity of the competition. Referees must be vigilant in evaluating fighters' defensive tactics to ensure they are not compromising their guard or intentionally avoiding engagement. In the case of Garcia's Philly shell defense, the referee needed to draw a clear line between legitimate defensive maneuvers and stalling tactics that could be considered unsportsmanlike conduct. While the Philly shell is a valid defensive technique, it should not be used as a means of avoiding contact or turning one's back excessively to the opponent. Referees' decision-making in this instance drew attention to the need for clear guidelines and consistent enforcement of the rules when it comes to defensive. Referees should be prepared to penalize fighters who repeatedly turn their backs excessively or utilize defensive maneuvers that significantly compromise their guard and open up vulnerabilities. In this case, instead, the referee was in clear favor of Ryan, because instead he should have warned Ryan for fighting in a legal way and don't use tricky moves for avoiding Duarte's punches. And it's not finished yet, because we all see that when Duarte was from Ryan, he clearly was capable of continuing the fight. Instead, the referee chose to finish the fight. And legendary boxer Floyd Mayweather Jr. expressed his doubts about the referee's decision, tweeting, "The fight should have continued until Duarte was no longer able to intelligently defend himself." These concerns highlight the challenges of refereeing boxing matches, particularly when dealing with unorthodox or defensive styles. While referees must ensure a fair fight, they also need to enforce the rules and protect the integrity of the sport. In this case, the referee's decision to stop the fight prematurely has drawn attention to the need for clearer guidelines and consistent enforcement of the rules regarding defensive tactics. Referees should be able to distinguish between legitimate defensive moves and stalling or evasive maneuvers that could compromise the fairness of the competition. While Mayweather has acknowledged Garcia's talent and potential, he has also expressed concerns about his unorthodox defensive tactics, particularly his frequent use of the Philly shell. In a recent interview, Mayweather stated that he believes Garcia should be more cautious when employing the Philly shell, emphasizing that it's crucial to use it effectively and responsibly. He also pointed out that Garcia's excessive turning of his back towards his opponents could be interpreted as stalling or avoiding engagement. Mayweather's advice to Garcia highlights the delicate balance between utilizing effective defensive strategies and maintaining a fair and competitive fight. The Philly shell can be a powerful defensive tool when used correctly. It's important to avoid overusing it or turning one's back excessively, as this could compromise one's guard and open up vulnerabilities. Ryan Garcia has a lot of talent, but he needs to be careful with the Philly shell. You can't just turn your back on your opponent all night. You have to use it effectively and responsibly. You can't stall or avoid engagement. That's not what boxing is about. Mayweather's comments reflect his deep understanding of boxing and his commitment to fair play. He recognizes that Garcia's talent and potential are undeniable, but he also wants to see him develop into a well-rounded boxer who utilizes effective defensive tactics without compromising his offensive game or engaging in stalling or evasive maneuvers. As Garcia continues to evolve as a boxer, it'll be interesting to see how he incorporates Mayweather's advice into his fighting style. If he can master the Philly shell effectively and responsibly, it could become a formidable weapon in his arsenal. However, if he overuses it or turns his back excessively, it could hinder his progress and potentially raise suspicions of unsportsmanlike conduct. And that's why Ryan joined the Mayweather team, the MTM Promotions, to be able to achieve his greatness and finally be the best in the world. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and smash the like button for new videos. Otherwise, Ryan will be the boxer of the world.